Baseball season is just around the corner, and the Chicago Cubs are gearing up for what is looking to be like such a fun season. So, hey, I want to have some fun with you guys today. Let's talk about opening day starter. Who should it be? Y'all, we got to talk about it. You'll be surprised at my answer, and I want to know yours right after this. What's going on, Chicago Cubs Central family friends? Hey, listen, guys, I appreciate each and every last one of you so much for tuning in to these episodes, for liking, for sharing, and for subscribing to Chicago Cubs Central, your number one spot for all things Chicago Cubs. Thank you, thank you, thank you again. I appreciate each and every last one of you guys that have helped us reach the heights that we've reached so far. And listen, guys, we're just getting started. This channel is headed to the top, and it's not because of me. It's because of you. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much for commenting and joining in the conversation, guys. I want to know your thoughts on today's topic. So again, also, one thing you want to make sure that you do, you want to make sure that you join Chicago Cubs Central on Facebook, guys. We got a whole Facebook group where I post videos in there. We have conversation in there. We get everybody's thoughts in there. Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Shout out to all my mods over there. Also, shout out to everybody on Spotify and on Apple that are tuning into the Chicago Cubs mean the world to me. Now, with that being said, let's talk today's episode. Today's episode is all about the pitching. Much of what we've talked about, I feel like this winter, outside of talking about Kyle Tucker, which was a giant ass waste of time, was talking about the Chicago Cubs pitching, what the Chicago Cubs would do pitching wise. How would the Chicago Cubs be able to add enough pitching to supplement what they lost, especially what they and they add more, because again, as we've learned, you can never have too much pitching when it comes to the MLB. 2026 season, this is a season that is poised to be special for these Chicago Cubs. They are looking to go on a run like never before, or at least not since 2016, and we're hoping that we can make it all the way to the World Series. But in order to be able to do something like that, we are going to need as much pitching as possible. One of the biggest honors, outside of being named an All-Star, outside of being, named, a Cy Young winner, outside of being, the World Series MVP, one of the greatest honors that you could say is that you were the opening starter for your team. Opening day around the league for the MLB is one of the biggest days of the year. We all look forward to it. We love it. We love to watch our teams that day, and it's super exciting. So for us, it's important who the opening day starter will be, because our Chicago Cubs are poised to win, but we have to start off hot. And we start off against the Nationals this season, hosting them at home at Wrigley Field. And it's going to be amazing. A 1:20 start time, only game probably going around baseball. And it's just going to be a vibe in and of itself. Who do you hand the ball to that day if you are Craig Counsell? Now, the projected rotation for the Chicago Cubs to start the season will be Cade Horton, Matthew Boyd, Edward Cabrera, Shota Imanaga, and Jameson Taillon, with Justin Steele lurking in the weeds with the return. And of course, we have Colin Ray and we have Javier Assad. Those are Chicago Cubs starters, potential starters, looking like for this coming season so far. Now, the Cubs have a strong rotation top to bottom, but there's a case to be made that they are lacking a bona fide ace to anchor that staff. After going 8-1 with a 1.03 ERA and 61.1 innings, and after the All-Star break last season, it looks like Cade Horton has the potential to be that guy. This is coming from Bleacher Report. Now, I want to give you guys my thoughts. So we have 3 potential ace starters on this squad. We have, first and foremost, let's talk about the guy last year that the Chicago Cubs really leaned on for majority of the season. That's Matthew Boyd. Matthew Boyd's 2025 season with the Chicago Cubs, he had 31 appearances. He pitched 179 and 2/3 innings. He had an ERA of 3.21. He had 154 strikeouts, a whip of 1.09. He allowed 154 hits. He only allowed 19 home runs. He had 42 walks, and he had a WAR of 2.5. The average exit velocity allowed was 88.5. The hard hit rate was 38%. So these underlying batted ball metrics reflect relatively strong contact management for a veteran starter, especially somebody that has just come off Tommy John. And really, last year was the most innings he had pitched since 2019? So for him, he really, really showed you what he could be for the Chicago Cubs team. And really, honestly, he was a workhorse for the Chicago Cubs rotation, leading the staff in innings and in wins, and delivered excellent run prevention with double-digit victories. The whole thing with Matthew Boyd wasn't anything he did during the regular season, although there were points where he kind of started dropping a little bit. But in all honesty, Matthew Boyd just ran out of gas at the end of the day. I mean, we leaned on him heavy. I mean, to literally have him pitch to start game one against the Padres, then have him start against the Brewers, then try to go back to him again at the end of that Brewers series. That was really tough on the Chicago Cubs, and it led Jed Hoyer to do what he did, which was go out and add as much pitching as possible, because you can never have too much. Now, with that being said, obviously Matthew Boyd is a great option, a great selection. Then let's look at the new guy on the staff, somebody that the Chicago Cubs have sought out for the past 3 years, reportedly, but somebody also that has not had a lot of success. He is a very good pitcher and could be the ace for the Chicago Cubs this season. But again, that remains to be seen. We need to see if he can stay healthy. Now, with that being said, we're talking about none other than Edward Cabrera. Edward Cabrera pitched for the Miami Marlins all of 2025. He had 8 wins, 7 losses in 26 starts. He pitched 137 and 2/3 innings. He had an ERA of 3.53. He had 150 strikeouts, 48 walks. His whip was 1.23. He allowed 121 hits, 17 home runs. His strikeout rate was 9.8. His walk rate was 3.1. Across his 2025 campaign, Cabrera's StatCast and advance page showed continued development, including a solid strikeout rate and improved walk control after early injury setbacks. He logged his workload across 26 starts, posting good strikeout totals and solid run prevention in his full season for the Miami Marlins. So again, Edward Cabrera is the new guy on the block. He is somebody that was heavily coveted by the Chicago Cubs for the past few years, and they were willing to give up Owen Casey to get him because they wanted to bring him to Chicago. In return, the Chicago Cubs gave up what could be a stud of a baseball player in the outfield in Owen Casey. But again, the Chicago Cubs needed more pitching. We wanted more pitching, and we knew it was going to cost us in order to have that pitching. Edward Cabrera is set to show you this season why the Chicago Cubs have coveted him and why we traded such a diamond in the rough in Owen Casey. And that would be because the Chicago Cubs believe Edward Cabrera can be not only their ace for the future, but a perennial Cy Young candidate. So with that being said, he is somebody that you definitely want to look out for this season. He's going to have a great season, I believe, for the Chicago Cubs. And last but not least, shout out to my boy Tyrone, because I know he's been saying it, and I know he's going to feel me on this one. The man for the Chicago Cubs, the guy that I believe is not only going to be the Chicago Cubs ace, but is also going to be the most dependable pitcher for the Chicago Cubs. This dude is a maniac. And I love every bit of it. He has fire in his eyes every single time he steps to the mound. And he wants to win. He wants to dominate. And that's somebody that I believe in. His stuff is electric. And I believe he is the guy for the job to get the opening day start. Cade Horton. Cade Horton, win and loss record. He had 11 wins, 4 losses. His appearances, he had 23 appearances, 22 of those being starts. He logged 118 innings pitched. He had an ERA of 2.67, 97 strikeouts, a whip of 1.08. He allowed 33 walks. Like to see that number get down. His home runs allowed just 10. StatCast metrics, his opposing hitters average 88.7 miles per hour exit velocity with a 41.3% hard hit rate allowed. His expected OBA, analysts put his allowed expected WOBA and his xWOBA in line with strong performance for a rookie. So Horton dominated much of the second half with extremely low ERA and a whip. His ERA for the second half of the season was 1.03 across 12 starts, cementing his strong rookie campaign before an injury ended his season. He is somebody that the Chicago Cubs are going to depend on and lean heavily on this season. He is somebody that is going to have to absolutely dominate for the Chicago Cubs this season. I don't think the question with Cade Horton is anything about his stuff. It's about his health. And to be honest with you guys, the same could be said for the other two guys. All three of these pitchers, what you worry about most is health. When they're healthy, their stuff is electric. All three of these guys. The Chicago Cubs could have a crazy three-headed monster. Shout out to one of you guys, I think, that commented that on one of the other videos I was talking about. The Chicago Cubs are going to have a crazy three-headed monster worth of pitchers that teams are not going to want to have to see. Could you imagine this was last year and these were the three guys you had to see in the wild card round? Could you imagine that? You would not want to have to deal with those guys in the wild card. You would not want to have to deal with those guys in the division series. Now, when you expand to the championship series and you go to best of 7 games, well, then that's a different story. So it's important, guys, to note that you got to have good pitching all around. You got to have good bullpen and you got to have good pitching. But I'm excited, guys, because I believe the Chicago Cubs have just that. They have really, really, really strong pitching. So with that being said, I want to know from you guys, who should get the opening day start? You know my pick. Cade Horton is the guy. Now, Craig Counsell may go with Matthew Boyd, or he may go with Edward Cabrera. It's going to be up to him and Tommy Hotovy. But for my money, I'm prepping Cade Horton, telling him you're the guy opening day. Start this season off electric. Show everybody why you're the guy around here. And that, to me, is who I think should be the opening day starter. But I need to know from you. Comment below. Who would you have be the opening day starter for the Chicago Cubs this upcoming season? I can't wait to read your answers. Listen, guys, make sure that you like, share, and subscribe to the podcast, to the channel. Let me know what you guys are feeling. And listen, if there's any topics you want me to cover, comment those below too. Would love to cover anything you guys want to talk about. And also, make sure that you join the Chicago Cubs Central Facebook group where you guys get early access to episodes. You also get insider information as well as get to talk to me. So listen, I appreciate you guys so much. Until next time, go Cubs, go. Peace. Me? It froze.
Thank you for watching another episode of Chicago Cubs Central, the #1 spot for all Chicago Cubs content. Remember to like, share, subscribe for more Cubs content.